National intelligence, my responsibility.
Shifting focus now to the U.S., where the spotlight is on President Donald Trump's intel chief pick, Tulsi Gabbard. Specifically, her secret meetings with former Syrian President Bashar al-Assad in 2017. On Thursday, during her confirmation hearing, which lasted for hours, Gabbard faced tough questioning from both Republicans and Democrats. What did she discuss with al-Assad? What could there have been to talk about? Remember, the U.S. has designated Syria as a state sponsor of terrorism since 1979. So why was Gabbard meeting with the president? And not just once, but twice. These are crucial questions. After all, Gabbard is the U.S. president's pick to oversee 18 U.S. intelligence agencies and will be entrusted with a $100 billion annual budget for America's intelligence operations. When she returned to Washington from the secret meeting with Assad 8 years ago, she was greeted with a flurry of criticism. But at the time, you see, Gabbard defended her trip, saying that she wanted a peaceful resolution to the long and bloody conflict. Still, despite her justifications, details of what the two actually discussed remained a mystery. Her trip had come after the U.S. government had demanded Assad step down because of his government's attacks against Syrian civilians, including allegedly with chemical weapons. Even at the time, her trip drew criticism from lawmakers on both sides. But now it has taken fresh importance. That's because in Syria, rebels have removed Assad from power, and President Trump has nominated her to be America's spy chief. At the hearing on Thursday, Gabbard told lawmakers that she asked Assad, quote-unquote, tough questions about his own regime's actions. In fact, she also tried to preemptively address any attacks over the visit, saying in her opening remarks, I'm quoting, I have no love for Assad or Gaddafi or any dictator, quote-unquote. Not just that, Gabbard also said that she shed no tears for the fall of the Assad regime. That's when the armed rebels, remember, had taken control of the Syrian city of Damascus. This was in December. During her confirmation hearing on Thursday, she was also pressed on meeting a Syrian cleric, Ahmad Bedreddin Hassoun, who had previously threatened to unleash suicide bombers in the United States if the American military intervened in his country. You see, Hassoun was appointed to the position of Grand Mufti, Syria's most senior Sunni Muslim cleric, by the Assad regime in 2005. He was an Assad loyalist. When the country descended into civil war, he publicly warned Washington and other Western countries against taking military action against the government. When asked by Senator Martin Heinrich whether she was aware of the threat made by Hassoun, the former Grand Mufti of Syria, here's how Gabbard reacted. She said, and I'm quoting, I was not and had not heard that until today. But here's the kicker. Reports saying that Gabbard was aware of Hassoun's threats soon after she returned from her controversial visit to Syria. According to the Washington Post, Hassoun's comments on suicide bombers were flagged as problematic by one of her aides in early 2017. According to the report, when Gabbard was first invited to visit Syria by Ohio-based activists in November 2016, Hassoun was one of the people they said she would have the opportunity to meet. She eventually visited Syria as well as Lebanon the following January. According to her account of the trip, Gabbard met Hassoun on the afternoon of January 16, 2017. Directly after meeting Assad and his wife, Asma. To this day, it's not clear what they discussed. Remember, as we mentioned earlier, Syria has long been designated a state sponsor of terrorism. And after the U.S. shut its embassy there in 2012, Washington has had no diplomatic relations with the regime. U.S. officials generally did not meet with regime officials, and the State Department advised against travel to the country. Now, despite her efforts to put jittery senators at ease on Thursday, it quickly became apparent senators are struggling to get past their hesitation to confirm her.
I would like to state a few other actions I would take if confirmed as Director of National Intelligence is, number one, make sure that we don't have illegal and unconstitutional programs within the intelligence community, making sure that we enact security clearance reform to limit access to our nation's top secrets, make sure that every single person in the workforce understands their rights as whistleblowers and the legal channels to take, which would include coming directly to you as members of Congress.
Both Democrat and Republican lawmakers say that Gabbard's meeting with Assad raises questions about the judgment of someone who is supposed to be the director of the U.S. National Intelligence. Trump has brushed off criticism of Gabbard's face-to-face meeting with Assad, and while Gabbard faced tough questions from both parties, no Republican senator has publicly said they will oppose her nomination.